Today, addiction doesn't end by intensity, it ends by consistency. Welcome to Sacred Grit, a podcast equipping men to conquer addiction and overcome inner struggles through physical, mental, and spiritual disciplines so you can become a man of honor and integrity. I'm Jason.Lyle. Now let's get to work. Today you'll learn a simple daily practice to build resilience, what you do matters more than how much you do, and how to build spiritual resilience on purpose instead of hoping it happens. This episode is brought to you by David Dodd, Edward Jones McDonough. What's up, my dude? Welcome back to the Sacred Grit podcast and Gritty Wednesday. All right, so how can I stop my addiction? Let's roll right off of Sacred Sunday. I hope you listen to that and roll right on into Gritty Wednesday, because I'm ad nauseum talking about this here idea about this cold water, and many of you guys have yet to get in. So I'm going to start with that, a simple daily practice to build resilience. So if you're already doing cold plunge, hang with me just a minute, because we are going to talk about other facets of this practice. But for those of you who haven't got in yet, I talked on Sunday about how when we get in, we fire off that amygdala, right? Fight, flight, freeze, or fall. That response in you that when somebody pulls out in front of you in traffic, you jerk. When somebody walks up behind you in a dark alley, you feel the cold chills come up your neck. When somebody starts cussing at you in the grocery store because you took the last box of Cheerios, whatever it might be, that thing that comes up inside of you, that's your fight, flight, freeze response. So that is keeping you alive. But here's the thing. So many of our behaviors, and I can't really have time to go into all the science of this. That's what we get into when we coach. But all these behaviors have wired themselves into your brain in that same system through myelination. Now, when they get wired in there into that limbic system, they are a part of your autonomic nervous system, which is the thing that makes you blink your eyes and your heartbeat and your breathe. You don't have to think about those things. They just happen. And if you wire these unwanted habits into your body, it's the exact same thing. These things get wired into your autonomic nervous system. And the only way to get in there is to hack into your autonomic nervous system, learn how to get control of it. The simple daily practice, and there's so much more to this, my dude, but the simple way to start: cold water. I cannot express it enough. Cold shower, cold plunge, ice pack on your chest if that's where you need to start, wherever you need to begin to teach your body and your mind how to reconnect when it is completely dysregulated. Get in the cold water, turn on the cold water, fight or flight fires off. You stay with it. You breathe. You bring that rational thought back close. You think to yourself, it's just 2 minutes. I'm going to be just fine. I am not going to die in this cold water. And all of a sudden you realize, and anybody who's done this can tell you, you find a peace and a calm. A peace. That is a simple practice, the most simple practice I know. If you don't do anything else, I would encourage you to do that. All right, because number two, what you do matters more than how much you do, right? Because here's the thing, guys will think, I stay in the cold plunge 12 minutes and, I do it, every day. And that is a good thing to do it every day, by the way. But, I'll do an hour and a half of practice in the morning. When it comes to nervous system regulation, more is not always better, because you could dysregulate yourself by doing too much, right? So here's what I would encourage you to start with. Do it instead of worrying about how much you do it. Get the water cold. Science says under 60 degrees. Listen, 75 degrees will feel chilly when you get in it. Work down. Try to get into that 60-degree range, but start somewhere that's manageable for you. 2 minutes is the golden standard. All the studies that we read says 2 minutes is the spot. But if you can stay 30 seconds, start there, my friend. Don't feel like that you have to jump off into this thing and go all the way to the finish line the first time you get in. Be gentle with yourself. Us men tend to be like, come on, I got to get in. I can grit my teeth and do it. Dude, that's not going to get you anywhere except right back in the same position you were in, because you're not going to want to manage that type of dysregulation. So give yourself some grace. Give yourself some kindness. Don't jump in the cold plunge the first time with a bunch of buddies where you have all that male bravado trying to, stay in there, all that stuff. Just ease in and do it. Just do it, okay? Because spiritual resilience is built on purpose, not on hope. Now, let me tell you what I mean by that. There's a lot of folks out there when it comes to the relationship to God. I'm just going to use that word, the big G word, their relationship to God. They just hope that somehow that's going to show up. They just hope that it will. But I'm going to tell you, spiritual resilience, and what I call spiritual resilience, means that I have the wherewithal to chase after God with everything that I am. And it is on purpose. I love the line in the Bible where it says, the kingdom of heaven is advancing forcefully, and violent men take it by force. The idea being that this thing that you want, this relationship to God that you're looking for as a dude, is something that you have to do on purpose, but it's not found in what you think it's found in. It's not in a pew. It's not in a choir. It's not in a worship song. It's not in the next little spiritual high that you get because the preacher makes you feel guilty for looking at porn again. It's not in any of that. It is getting your ass out of the bed, doing something hard, and getting your mind and your body into communication with each other, and getting your breath in communication with the entire process, because God, my friend, is inside of you. Jesus says the Holy Spirit is in you. That's what he says. The Holy Spirit is inside of you. He says the Holy Spirit is a paraclete or a helper. And all of these other spiritual traditions that, many Christians just look over, they all agree that this living energy is inside of you. And it does not come in words. God can't be, just held down by words, as if, English is the official language of God or any other language. God speaks to us through feeling, through our gut. And we know, check this out, we know scientifically, now I read this the other day, that our stomach has as many neurons, I think it's neurons, I might be getting my science wrong, but something like that, as a cat's brain. We have, and now scientists are starting to say, we have two brains at least in our body, the one in our head and the one in our stomach. So God is inside of us, in the center of your chest, man. When people say, I just had a gut feeling, dude, that is God. And if you can connect your check this out, your prefrontal cortex, where all rational thought happens, if you can have the on-purpose wherewithal to connect your brain to your body and give the Spirit of God the opportunity to speak to you where rational thought happens, my dude, you can make decisions that will change your life. But as long as you continue to let your dysregulated body do things that your brain doesn't want to do, or your brain to cause your dysregulated body to do things it don't want to do, you're going to stay in the same cycle. You've got to break the cycle. You've got to close the loop, and you've got to give the voice of God the chance to speak to you, my dude. So today you learned a simple daily practice to build resilience. What you do matters more than how much you do, and how to build spiritual resilience on purpose instead of hoping that it happens. My dude, thank you so much for listening. These things have changed my life in a drastic way, and I just want to share that with everybody. If you'll drop down in the show notes, you can click a consultation call. I would be glad to have a conversation with you, help you build a practice, and wherever we go from there is up to you, but I would love to help you at least get started getting yourself some sacred grit. All right. This episode is brought to you by Capital City Roofing, capitalcityroofing.net. Now, these guys are not only roofers, they do windows, they do siding, they do all your exterior needs. Not to mention, they are just good folks. Brad over there is creating this entire nonprofit to help feed hungry kids in school programs and that are struggling. They're just good folks, man, over at Capital City Roofing. So if you look them up, they will handle all your exterior needs at capitalcityroofing.net. All right, my dude. I hope you have a great week. I shall see you on Sacred Sunday.